Hi and welcome to my channel, 1/35th scale modeler. My name's Dean. If you like my videos, please smash the like button and consider subscribing. We're looking today at the Jagdtiger, which is produced by Dragon. This particular kit is an older kit that I purchased on eBay. I just bid for it, and sometimes that's a good way to, add a little bit more interesting items to your stash, is just by going on eBay and bidding for some older kits that you might be interested in doing. This kit is a 1/35 scale model. It's the Dragon's 39-45 series. It's SDK.KFZ.186 Jagdtiger, and it's a Henschel production type. This kit contains over 330 parts, so it's incredibly detailed. On the side of the box, you've got just the tank itself. There doesn't seem to be any division markings on this one, so when we look at the instruction booklet, we'll try and work out what that means. I just think it might be just an unidentified unit. It's showing here as a 2016 production, and the kit number is 682703, like third iteration. You can see here as well, it's a 6827, a bit of box art there, Dragon. On this side of the box, they're showing a different barrel to use. There's also some upgraded wheels. They've done some work on the tools and the viewing periscopes, and they've also included some magic tracks. There's a metal tow cable, photo etch parts, and you can see the decals is very limited. Okay, so let's take a look in the box and just find out what we've got. Okay, take that off. So we have the instruction booklet and all the parts inside. There is a sprue call out here, but I'll just count them anyway. We've got the whole tub. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 sprues. You've got some clear parts, photo etch, which we'll look at, the wire cables in the box, the decals, and the magic tracks. We'll also look at those in a moment. So let's just pop this to one side. And let's have a look at the instruction booklet. So in the instruction booklet, you've got on the front page, it's just a black and white picture of the box art. It confirms the kit number, 6827. It shows all of the sprues called out. And what they've also done is highlighted some of the sprue areas in a blue. And what this means is those particular parts in these sprue bits are not needed to be used, because on the side of the box art, as we saw earlier, they've done some upgrades. So you get the general legend, where if they're asking you to make 2 parts, they'll show it as ×2. They've got like a cut-in symbol, gluing symbol you don't need glue, etc. They've also got a call out on colours. So in the first section here, they're asking us to add to the tub all of the suspension arms, the sprocket and the idler, and some of the road wheels. Now, sometimes what I find is whilst it's saying that in the booklet to do this, I sometimes wait and make sure that the whole tub's painted before I then start adding these pieces on. But again, it's entirely your choice. They continue here with building the road wheels, adding these on, and they're showing you that there's a requirement on this side to build 4 of these on each side, and then there's a further set of wheels that are thinner, I think, and there's another 5 there. So in total you're looking at what, 9, 10, 12. There's lots of wheels on this one, but you can imagine this was a massive tank, and so the road wheels really were in place to spread the load and make it more evenly distributed. On the back we've got the rear engine deck cover plate. You've got some exhaust pieces added. You've got the C hook, all types of hooks that are being added to this. Then they're asking you to glue that to the back of the lower hull. There are some shrouds that go over the exhaust, and they're asking you to be very cautious with this, so as not to damage it. And that's when the vehicle's turned upside down. These pits might be quite weak and could snap, so take care there. You then build up the jack, which is then added to the rear of the vehicle. It looks like you put in some rear fenders on here as well. And then in the fighting compartment, there seems to be some sort of firewall that's separate at the moment, and we're adding doors and vision port and plates and handles. So there's a lot going on. They're also showing you that you need to build up the inside of this, so when this adds on, it's clipped in and not glued. So again, just be a bit cautious. Once this is actually built up and you're satisfied that it's actually safe and sound to add on, you can then add this onto the back of the fighting compartment. And here you can see that you're starting to add some more detail to the engine deck. There's lots of clips and hooks that are being added on. Loads of these. It just seems to be a multitude. On the back of the engine deck, there seems to be another cover that gets made up separately, that once you've then made that up and you're happy with it, you can then add to the back of the engine deck. And then they're showing you some tracks. So these must be from the Magi tracks, and they're starting to build some of these up that will then hang on the hooks that they've already added in a previous step, where you start adding some extra further sort of like armour, but also spares for any damaged tracks. There's an MG34, or it could be a 42, not sure. That gets added on the back. That would have been something that on this Jagdtiger that they would have used for maybe like fighting, aircraft cover or whatever, what have you. They've got some wire cutters here. They're adding some tools on this. Then they're asking you to build up the front mantlet. The front mantlet seems to come in multiple pieces. Then you've got the machine gun ball, vision port there. This would be clear plastic parts. They're adding more material to the outside of the vehicle: shovels, crank handles, barrel cleaning equipment. Then they're adding on the barrel lock. Because the Jagdtiger was a tank buster, really, in its sense. It wasn't. It didn't have a turret that swiveled. This would then mean that when in travelling, that would have had to have been locked away to protect it. Okay. Then they go on to add more material to the outside of the vehicle. Once the barrel lock's in place, you've got a light, axe, heavy hammer, some sort of pry bars, and then they're adding interior breach. So this breach will be built up separately. That, once built up, then gets inserted into the inside of the inner hull, and it looks like there are some placements for that. Once that's in, they're satisfied that that's okay, or you're satisfied it's okay, they then go on to start building up the magic tracks that go around. Once you're satisfied that the breach is okay, the built up upper hull area is then added onto the lower hull, and then that becomes one piece. Material like shackles are then added onto the back. They then want you to build out the actual barrel mantlet as well, and then this is actually added to the outer mount, the inner mantlet that's shrouding the breech, and then your barrel is then added into this. And then they've got the side skirts, and these are all glued on at the end. And then the last piece is then adding more material to the side that are glued on, adding the wire, etc. Once the vehicle's made up, you can see, yeah, they're unidentified units from 1945, and there's 2 colour schemes to choose from. And that's it. It looks fairly straightforward. There's a lot of detail going on here, so I would just say when you're building it, make sure you refer to the instructions and do a lot of test fitting before you commit to gluing. Make sure you can that you check where glue is not required to ensure that parts move as required. Okay, so this is the lower hull tub, and you can see inside here that's where the breech will sit, and the breech that will be pointing in this direction. This is the back of the vehicle where the engine compartment, that built up piece, gets added on. Not much to say really. There's some interesting pieces underneath, a lot of detail. Is it necessary? Not sure, but they felt that it'd be nice to add. So yeah. These are the side skirts, and again, they can be added onto the side of the vehicle, as is, or if you want to add a little bit of damage, you can always warm them up gently, and using tools and what have you, you can actually crimp and press it. The actual print quality or injection quality is very good. You've got some ejector pin marks on the insides. You've got some locating holes as well for all the clips. So there's lots of clips that they add onto this that you'll have to add on. So, attention to detail really here is critical. So this is the breech that would go inside the hull compartment. I mean, that's an exact fit. So, there's not going to be much tolerance there for any error. That's the MG 34 or 42. There is some flash on that will need to be cleaned up, not too significant. Elevating arms here, because the barrel would have just gone in a sort of like a up and down motion. There'd be no side to side, no traverse, just elevate and down. That's jack that they were pointing out. But overall, again, good quality. Not sure if you'll need to paint it, but if you want to have the vehicle so that the top can be removed, then it might be a nice thing to do. These are the road wheels. Now these are the normal type road wheels. I think these are the new upgraded detail ones that they've added in. So you've got the swing arms here. These are the swing arms. These are the caps that go on to the ends when they're attached on. There doesn't look to be like any poly caps, so these may be glued, so the wheels won't actually physically turn. This is a sprue that they've called out as been upgraded. So you've got some end shackles for the cable. They've actually got some holes drilled in them, as you can see. So hopefully you can see. These might need to be opened up just a little bit more, because I'm not quite sure how thick that cable is, but they never seem to marry up, but we'll see. You've got 2 sets of wire cutters, heavy hammer, heavy blow hammer that is, axe, shovel. That looks like some kind of fire shovel, you know, for shoveling coal. So, and that's some kind of crowbar, a smaller shovel. That made me a fire extinguisher. But the print quality is very good, and these will be nicely, you know, easy to paint and add on to the vehicle. So here's your idlers and sprockets, and these are sided, so this will be either for the left or the right. There you've got the exhaust, and I think when you're laying this tub down, I think what they're worried about when they're showing the blue is that this top piece here could snap. But there's a bit of clean up required here, so they're asking you to be careful because it may snap. But there's a lot of cleaning up and cutting to do on this, so they've not made it easy, but patience and take your time and it'll be fine. There's lots of hooks here that will all be added to the side of the tank, where elements will be added on, like the tracks, tools, and the other pieces that they need. This is that piece that they're referring to here that will go onto this side, which will then allow it to glue to the back of the engine deck plate. But they said not to. This barrel is not used. They've upgraded the barrel, they've given it more detail, so this can go in your spares. This is the inner mantlet, this is the outer mantlet. They've done some nice casting detail to that, so that's very helpful. It really does sort of add to the authenticity and look of the vehicle when it's in a static model. That's that cradle for the barrel that will be added on. You can see like this will be like where it sits at the front to lock it in place. These are some of the tools that they're probably suggesting not to use, shovel and that. So again, these will be bits and pieces that can go in your spare box. And if you're using if you're creating a diorama or something, some of this stuff, you could just leave lying around somewhere. Give that diorama a look and feel. Some crowbar or pry bars here. Print quality is very good. All of the ejector pin marks seem to be in the right places on the inside. So from that sense, I've got no real concern. So yeah, it should go together really nicely. The rear plate of the engine deck. How that goes on, probably like that, or whatever, I don't know. Let's see. And then you've got the fighting compartment, engine deck, front glacis plate there. And as you can see, this is a whole cast piece. They've even got nice casting effect on the side, which is nice. They've even introduced some weld where they've joined the plates together. Some people like to do their own weld, but this weld actually looks really decent. So a little bit of care and attention, you can actually really bring that out and make that pop. That's the back of the fighting compartment that fits onto here. That's where the door. I think these are the doors that they're asking you to make up. The inside of the door that goes here that will hide those, and they'll go onto this. And then once you're happy this is all built nicely, this can then fit to here. That's like an engine deck access point there, and there's pieces that will need to be added that you've got here. Go over that, and then eventually this will be stuck to this. And I think if you're careful, you may even be able to open this. So if you wanted to kind of have a go at creating some sort of little engine or whatever, then that might be a nice little effect to have. But the print quality is very good. All of the ejector pin marks, as I've mentioned before, are all in the right place on the inside, so there's not much work in terms of hiding it. That's your machine gun ball that will sit in here. Yeah, not much to say, it's good quality. This is the new upgraded barrel, which actually I think, yeah, that was needed. Well needed. I mean, when you compare it to the original, there's no comparison, is there? there's no muzzle brake on this. And when you look on the box art, there isn't a muzzle brake on it. It's literally, it ends there. We've got clear parts for the vision ports, and these will be in the periscopes really, and they'll just sit inside. Always nice. They do actually pop as well. When if you put a little bit of like a see-through colour on it, like an amber or a light umber or yellow, they pop out. They do look nice actually. This is your PE parts that will go over the engine deck. These are some hooks. So yeah, it's a little bit wrinkled, but it's a second-hand model. Here's the wire, and as I thought, the wire is actually quite thick, and so you may need to open up the tow hook ends just to get these to fit nicely. Decals, well, the decals are what they are, just decals, and there's not many of them. There you go. Now, what you could do is, if you've built previous models and not used a division from a Jagdtiger that you may have built, then you can create your own division markings. And these are the magic tracks. Have a look at some of these. Yeah, lovely, really nicely moulded. I don't know, you don't get a jig, but if you've got a 3D printer, you can print your own jig. But these parts, you can see they just clip together, and that's quite a big job. But again, if you enjoy your model building and you like all the complexities of adding bits and pieces, this is quite a nice thing to build. And when it's on the actual tank, I mean, it really does make such a difference compared to those rubber pieces. So, closing. Second-hand model to add to your stash. Yeah, thoroughly recommend it. This particular model looks nice. I'm going to enjoy putting this one together. But I'm definitely going to need some sprue glue, 100%. Yeah, so hit the like button if you like this video. But thanks very much, and I'll see you next time.